Hello and welcome to Save Your Game. My name is Bailey Linton and I am in charge of the blog, and I'm here with my friend Ben Hoff, who is a DM for Dungeons and Dragons. For those of you that have never heard of the game, Ben's going to explain a little bit about it in a minute, but first, how about we hear a little bit about who you are, Ben?
Me as a person, I have a long history of board games, card games, just with my family and with my friends all the time, as well as theater and improv, and those two sort of really work together, I think, for Dungeons and Dragons.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what Dungeons and Dragons is, and if people can play it at home on a budget.
Yeah, well, first off, I think I'd like to explain D&D as sort of a pseudo board game, where you can play it with a board, but the board is optional. The primary focus usually is on role-playing, and I like to use a lot of sort of theater of the mind, like describing things and letting people imagine really what they are. What's the next part, like on a budget? What exactly
yeah, on a budget. Is it possible for them to play this game on a budget?
Yeah, there are actually a few resources online. I'm trying to think of what exactly it's called, but if you go to the D&D website, they actually have like portions of all the rule books available online as PDFs, so you can pick those up, start sort of learning about the game, and play a few sessions completely for free with sort of the GM, the game master. He sort of improvises most of it. But then the starter set will take you through the first 5 levels, and after that you'll have to drop a fair amount of money on the full rule books.
So in these games, do you just usually play as yourself, or?
No, you'll get a group together, so there will be
Okay.
one person who's referred to as the GM or the DM, Game Master or Dungeon Master. That's the role that I typically play, and then you get a group of friends together, and then the DM sort of explains the situation. He creates a world in his head and shares it with the players, and then gives them sort of quests and missions to accomplish that they can do pretty much however they want within the sort of vague rule set that there is.
Sounds good. So what tips would you give to other people who play the DM in this? If I'm to understand, the DM kind of controls the flow of the game.
Yes. Number one tip, don't say no. If you've planned for hours trying to figure out an epic story, an epic journey to take them through, and they just decide I want to go hunt deer for 3 hours, let them do it, because really it's their game, not yours.
Okay. So finally, I thought it might be fun for you to recount one of your most memorable times playing Dungeons and Dragons, because this sounds like the kind of game where you can be real creative.
Yeah, so with the party, a group I play with back home, they had just finished some adventuring, and they went into this sort of restaurant bar place with a nice stage that was, I sort of set the scene to make them think bands play on there, that's where the live entertainment is. But then as soon as 2 of them agreed to entertain for, in exchange for a meal, they learned that it was sort of a brawling arena, and they got into a fight. One of the players, it was a wizard and a fighter. The fighter had gone to the bathroom in real life, and he decided, just make my character go poop, which we were all like, ha, funny, whatever. But then when he got back right at his combat term, and he said, I'm still pooping, and I'm gonna throw it towards my wizard friend, and he threw it at the wizard, who was another character. He got the best roll you can. It's a critical success when you roll a 20. He rolled a 20, critical dookie, threw it towards the wizard. He caught it, lit it on fire with another critical success, rolled another 20. The odds of that happening are like 1 in 400. Then he threw it at the guy who only had like 2 hit points left, and he killed him. And that has forever gone down in the history of the group as the critical dookie.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Ben, and stay tuned to Save Your Game.